watching World Talks here on TVP World with me, Salia Strzemska, and we're going to discuss Ukraine. 3 days after Ukraine's incursion into Russia's Kursk region, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said Moscow must feel the consequences for its invasion of Ukraine. To discuss the latest on the Ukraine-Russia war, I am joined here this morning by Magdalena Jakubowska, Vice President, Republika. Good morning, delighted to have you with us.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
So let me start by asking you about the latest news from the Kursk region, because we have a very limited amount of information.
We do. There is an information blockage, in a sense. Of course, some information is out, but so far we don't have very specific information about the position, about the number of the troops. It is said that more or less 1,000 of Ukrainian troops are there present in the Kursk region, but still this is not confirmed. Also, we are not exactly sure what equipment is being used. So we don't know exactly the scale of it. However, it looks quite serious, and it seems like Ukraine is very well prepared for this move.
There were incursions into the Russian territory before, into Belgorod region, but how is this Kursk situation different from the others?
It's further, of course, in the land of Russia. It's more complicated action. Those earlier situations were smaller and a smaller scale for sure, and didn't have this PR effect as this one. Also because Belgorod region is not that security sensitive. Here in Kursk region, we have a nuclear power plant, we have gas lines and a large facility where of the gas pipelines where you can, if attacked, you can easily cut off huge deliveries of the natural gas to Europe.
And can we say that Ukraine is claiming responsibility for this one? Because sort of Volodymyr Zelenskyy alluded to it, right? But he did not openly say that Ukraine is conducting such an action.
Yes, he alluded to that. We can say that, it's mostly a show-up of a revenge, in a sense. He wants to show that this is not only that Ukraine can only be a victim of Vladimir Putin's, Ukraine can defend itself or attack. So it's again a very strong communicate to people, to Russians who so far were very far in understanding Putin's war in Ukraine as a must. Now they understand it's not that easy, and it's not one-side conflict.
But why now? Why not earlier?
Well, now it's the time that after quite a few months or years of war, there's been this kind of stagnant moment. None of the forces is doing good or bad. It's not going any further. There is a stalemate in a sense, and also the kind of morale of Ukrainian soldiers. They are just tired of this war. So this is a very good moment to put a new kind of spirit, new accent to what's happening. Also, this is a kind of information for the West, not to stop supporting Ukraine, showing that all the equipment donations and purchases for Ukraine are useful, and Ukraine, with even small support, can do much.
Right, but Ukraine has been exercising restraint far up until this recent action. So, do you think that they're emboldened, or perhaps they're desperate? What are they trying to achieve?
To one extent, they are desperate, and the situation in Donetsk, that is supposed to be reverted by that offensive and by that move to Kursk and getting away Russian soldiers, Russian troops from Donetsk, brings, on one hand, this is like a military move, right? And to support the situation in the Donetsk region. So this is one thing. The other moment is this PR effect that that brings attention very much and shows that that Ukraine is ready to take offensive.
Right, but how was this received by international authorities, politicians, and so on? What is the response to what has happened?
So at the moment, as we already said, the information is quite scarce. So we are still waiting for the development and also for the planning. So far, the West is quite proud. There are declarations that, I don't know, German tanks can be used by Ukraine on in similar occasions and similar offensives. Also, the Department of the Pentagon declared that there are no breaches in using the American equipment. So it seems like there's no very positive or, I don't know, happy responses from the West. But still, there is a huge degree of accepting the situation.
So what happened with the fear of escalation? It is no longer there?
No, of course there is. The fear is there. However, with such an offensive of the Ukrainian troops, you can see that Vladimir Putin is quite weak on his own field. Also, it showed relative lack of information in between the Russian heads of military and Mr. President, and this shows that a lot was. Russia is strong, but not on its own fields. So it shows the West that there is a space to work with Russia, to maneuver, to work in a sense that we can do something to end that war.
Right. There was some rumor of possible peace talks, right, happening in the near future. What is your take on that?
Well, it's a step towards that, I think. To much of an extent, Zelenskyy is showing these are huge things, but this is not that we can do it oftenly, and that Russia can undergo such situations. Kursk is very small, and this oblast, right, and it's very close to Ukraine. It is not that it will happen more, and Ukrainian troops will go into Russia, because that's not. But it shows some weaknesses of the system, and show that it's time to sit down and have some ideas. But this is also a situation where really the West, together with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, should start working on a very detailed strategy for Russia, what will happen next, and how the West and Ukraine would treat Russia, because that's still not explained, and there's still missing some ideas of where to go, how to continue sanctions after war, how to, how the peace talks should look like, who would be the liaise there or intermediate, and we need that strategy, we need that serious talk, where to go.
Right, there is a nuclear power plant in Kursk, and the Russians have control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Do you think that the Kursk one could be used as a bargaining chip during the possible peace talks? Or why they're trying to sort of, mark the presence in this particular region?
This particular region is very rich into questions of energy security. We know very well how it influenced the West and the whole world with the deliveries and how important and strategically important energy is. So this is Kursk and the nuclear power plant is of course something that we can that is very visible. That is a very strong message to that, because it's very dangerous, the situation. It can be a bargain for Zaporozhye as well.
So do you think that the Ukrainian leadership could be worried about some of the possible changes in leadership on the international scene, and perhaps this is why they're trying to act now? I'm of course talking about the US.
To some extent, yes, although I don't think that that the support would change dramatically. It's in the very high interests of the US, of the international community as such, to have a prevail in this war and to support Ukraine still. So I don't think that even the large shift in leadership of US would change that much the situation.
So let's turn for a moment towards civilians. From what we know, around 3,000 people were evacuated from the region. So I wonder, and you also hinted at that, how does this affect Vladimir Putin's standing in the country?
I'm not sure they were evacuated or they evacuated themselves. They underline strongly, this Russian community that had to move. They underline very strongly that there was no support from the government, from Putin or its military. So they kind of opened their eyes that there is no understanding that their lives or their homelands are important to the government. So admittedly, the situation for Mr. Putin is not very favorable. He so far had a very strong support of the society. Of course, misinformation that they were fed with from the news and from the press that they read on everyday basis, and all the statements by Mr. Putin is still working. But the situation shows that they are left alone, and their interests don't matter to those high-ranked politicians in Russia.
Right. There was this recent prisoner swap between the West and Russia. Now it seems that things are changing. Are they? What's happening really?
Yes, things are moving on. It's time to move on. It's been 2 years, over 2 years of war. There's no time and there's no money to continue that. And none of the countries have specific success in this war. So it's really high time to work on the next steps. But as said, the West has to have a clear aims and, concrete KPIs, we would say in business, for where to go with peace talks or any resolution to this war.
And what are some of the ideas that are being floated at the moment?
So there are no concretes, but there is, on one hand, this strong idea that Mr. Putin should be punished himself personally for the war crimes. And this is even he's going to Mexico for the presidential elections. Let's say the sworn-in. And there's been a request from the European Union Commission to the Mexican authorities to detain Mr. Putin when in Mexico, which is a very important step. We didn't say that earlier on. We didn't vocalize such ideas.
But this request was rejected, right?
It was rejected, of course, because, you know, I mean, like, it's a matter of sight, what you take, right? But anyways, the steps are there, slowly getting to a situation where we can find some solutions that can be taken.
Definitely an interesting moment, so I guess we'll have to wait and see how the situation unfolds. Magdalena Jakubowska, Vice President Respublika, was my guest this morning. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.
Thank you.